Welcome back. Okay, let's jump right into this. Close your eyes for a second. Well, actually, not if you're driving. But in your mind's eye, I want you to picture this incredibly cinematic 4K heritage scene. Imagine a vast, unimaginably huge spiritual palace, but it's made entirely out of pure light. Every single detail inside this palace, from the grandest hall down to the tiniest spark, contains 5 nested layers. We're talking root, soul, body, garments, and chamber. Today, we're going on a journey to decode this exact architecture of the infinite. We are breaking down a framework known as Shanghalah, which literally maps out how the infinite structures every single detail of reality.
So, the big question we have to ask ourselves is how exactly does the infinite do this? How do we get from that innermost, absolutely pure spark of divine light all the way out to the surrounding physical feeling world that we operate in every day? Well, to figure this out, our source text from the Talmud Eser Sefirot gives us 2 fundamental concepts. First, we have Panimiyut, which is the inner essence, and second, Chitzoniyut, the outer vessel. Basically, every single spiritual reality out there is organized by this exact dynamic. It's a constant relationship between the inner core and the outer shell.
And our source reveals a really fascinating sequence here. It says, there are essences and vessels. First, the infinite light expanded in the secret of vessels, and afterward, the lights, which are the essences, dressed within them. Think about that chronology for a second. The infinite light didn't just crash into existence all at once. No, it systematically expanded to carve out these structural containers, the vessels. It was only after those outer vessels were fully formed that the inner essence, the light, actually dressed itself inside them. Let's move into section 1, Psat, the 5 nested layers.
So here is the literal structural breakdown of reality, the pshat. Every spiritual unit, whether we're talking about something cosmic and massive or something totally microscopic, is broken down into 5 nested layers. From the inside out, it goes exactly like this. First, the innermost spark is the Shoresh, the root. Right outside that, surrounding the root, is the Neshama, the inner life force or soul. Then, that soul is held tightly inside a guf, a body which acts as the structural vessel. Outside of that body, we have the Levushim, the garments. These are fascinating because they simultaneously reveal and conceal the light. And finally, wrapping the whole thing up is the Heichal, the chamber or the surrounding environment. Root, soul, body, garment, chamber, boom.
Now, this isn't just an arbitrary list of words. This maps perfectly onto the ultimate Kabbalistic framework, the Sephirots. The highest Sephirah, Keter, is our overarching Shoresh. It's the overarching root source holding everything together. Then Chochmah maps directly to the Neshama, the soul. Binah is the guf, the body. Dropping down, Tiferet, or Zeir Anpin, acts as the Levush, the garment. And finally, Malchut is the ultimate outer Heichal, the chamber. It is an absolutely flawless one-to-one map.
But wait, I need to stop us right here for a massive warning. When we use words like body, garment, and chamber, please, whatever you do, do not imagine physical arms and legs or literal cotton t-shirts or spatial brick-and-mortar buildings. Remember, we are talking about a spiritual architecture of pure light and vessels. We're just using these human terms as metaphors so we can understand their functions and relationships. They are completely devoid of any physical density or spatial dimensions. Seriously, check the physical world at the door.
All right, section 2, decoding the secret. From gaming to cosmic engineering.
To really wrap our heads around how these 5 nested layers function together without falling into that trap of imagining physical objects, we're going to use some modern tech analogies. Because honestly, they map so perfectly to this ancient text. Let's say we're explaining this to a kid playing a video game. The Shoresh, that's the game's hidden source code. The Neshama is the character's life power or core engine. The guf is the structural body armor. The Levush is the customized costume or skin, and the Heikel is the world zone they're running around in. But for the adults, let's look at it like cosmic engineering. The root is your root server. The soul is the active process running in the background. The body is the structural container holding all the data. The garment is the interface shell, and the chamber is your entire operating environment. It's literally the inner essence operating a structurally contained outer shell.
But that brings up a really crucial question. Think about it. How does that pure, infinite, blinding inner light actually manifest down into an outer garment or an operating environment without completely losing its original essence? How does it survive the trip down? To answer that, we have to pop the hood and look at the deep physics of Kabbalistic manifestation.
Which brings us to section 3, exhaustive mechanics, light and vessel.
Okay, the absolute key mechanism here is called Hitpashtut. This literally translates to the expansion of the infinite light. But our source text reveals a really wild paradox here. This expansion actually causes a thickening, a hitgubut, of the light. It's kind of mind-bending, right? By expanding outward from the source, the light actually thickens up and creates limits, and those exact limits are what form the vessels. So each outer layer thickens a bit more, allowing that blinding inner light to appear in a lower, much more graspable and functional form. Now look at how these 5 layers actually interact in terms of proximity. The inner 3 layers, the root, the soul, and the body, they make up the Panimiyut, the inner essence, and they are tightly bound together. They are totally inseparable. But the outer 2 layers, the garment and the chamber, they make up the Chitzoniyut, the outer reality. These actually separate from the inner core to become outer, surrounding environments. To cement this rule, let's read directly from the source text itself. It says, root, soul, and bodies are attached to one another. Garment and chamber are separated from them. This is a hard and fast rule in spiritual architecture. The essence, the life force, and the immediate container are intimately fused together. But the interface and the environment, they sit entirely outside, sort of hovering and surrounding that core.
So let's really break down the fundamental difference between the 2 main players here, the light and the vessel. The light, the or, is pure essence. It's entirely inner, Panimiyut, and its whole nature is just to expand and withdraw. It has 0 physical direction. But the vessel, the kli, that's your outer limitation, your Chitzoniyut. It's the thickened light that creates actual boundaries. And because it is a boundary, it naturally has a face that points inward toward the light, and a back that points outward toward the lower, darker realms.
Now, for the serious students watching this, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're probably asking, wait, what about the Rishimot? What about Tzimtzum, the screens, the returning light, or Yashar, and or Hoser? Let me be perfectly clear. While those deep mechanics absolutely exist in the broader Talmud Eser Sefirot, if they aren't explicitly linked to this specific 5-layer Shan Law text we are studying right now, we do not invent the connection. We are sticking strictly to what's explicit or clearly implied in the text at hand. No adding our own spin.
Moving into Section 4, Roots to Chambers, the Cosmic Mapping.
Up until now, we've mostly been looking at the micro level, like a single spiritual unit. But now we're going to map these exact same 5 layers across the entire cosmos, and this is where you really see the fractal nature of the system. Just like one tiny soul has 5 layers, the entire universe is layered the exact same way. The highest world, Adam Kedmon, functions as the ultimate root, the Shorashim. Dropping down, Atzilut acts as the soul of the cosmos, the Neshama. Briah is the body, Yetzirah is the cosmic garment, and finally Asya, our lowest realm, is the encompassing chamber. As above, so below. The micro is exactly the macro.
And here is the absolute ultimate mapping. The 4 letters of the divine name, Yod, He, Vav, He, along with the upper tip of the Yod, align flawlessly with this Shanghala framework. Watch this. The upper tip of the Yod, that's the root. The Yod itself is the soul. The first He is the body. The Vav is the garment, and the lower He is the chamber. The entire architecture of reality is quite literally encoded right there in the divine name. It's just unbelievable.
But seeing all these intricate moving parts, from the highest roots all the way down to the physical chambers, from the Sefirot to the divine name, it leaves us with one final, really profound question. How does all of this connect back to the ultimate purpose? I mean, why build this incredibly complex, 5-layered spiritual architecture in the first place?
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the ultimate integration, Adam Elyon.
The answer lies in the concept of the Adam Elyon, the Supernal Man. This represents the ultimate integration, the absolute perfect harmonization of all 5 layers working together as one singular expression of the infinite. Just listen to how beautifully the text summarizes this. The Supernal Man, which is a soul dressed in a body, and the body in garments, set within the chamber of the king. Think about that. The hidden root pulses life into the soul moves the body interacts through the garments, and all of it is experiencing the grand chamber of reality. It's a perfect system.
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve
Your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share.
Which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments? We'll see you in the next chapter.